There was a time in my life when I didn't want to go to sleep, not because I had insomnia, but because of what I knew might be waiting for me when I closed my eyes. Snakes. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, breathing fast, with the image still fresh in my mind. A snake moving slowly, watching, sometimes chasing, sometimes just there, silent, present, and heavy with meaning. But what terrified me was not the dream itself. It was what I had been taught it meant. Because when I was deeply involved in witchcraft, dreams were never just dreams. Every symbol carried weight. Every image had to be interpreted. And snakes were one of the most serious symbols we were trained to recognize. I was told that seeing snakes in your dreams meant spiritual attack. Other times, it meant hidden enemies watching you. Sometimes, it was described as manipulation or monitoring or something being released against you. No matter how it was explained, one thing was always the same. It created fear. So every time I had that dream, and it didn't happen just once, it happened repeatedly, I would wake up already tense. My mind would immediately start searching for answers. Who is against me? What is happening right now? What do I need to do to protect myself? And the strange thing is, once you start believing those interpretations, the dreams feel more real, more intense, more frequent, more personal. It's like your mind begins to cooperate with the story you've been given. But here's what shocked me after I left that world. The dreams didn't immediately stop, but the fear did, because I discovered something that completely changed how I understood those experiences. Seeing snakes in your dreams does mean something, but not what I was taught. And once you understand what it really means, the fear loses its power. After that first dream, everything changed for me. Snakes were no longer just images in my mind. They became signals, or at least, that's what I was told. Inside the occult world, symbols were treated like coded messages. And snakes were one of the most heavily emphasized. But here's what I didn't realize at the time: the meaning was never fixed. One person would say a snake meant an enemy. Another would say it meant spiritual attack. Someone else would say it represented hidden knowledge or power. The interpretation would shift depending on who was speaking, but the effect was always the same: uncertainty. And uncertainty produces fear. Because when a symbol can mean multiple things, your mind starts searching for the most threatening explanation. You don't settle on a calm meaning. You jump to the one that makes you feel alert. I remember waking up after one of those dreams and feeling uneasy for the entire day. Nothing had actually happened. No real problem had appeared. But internally, I felt like I needed to be careful, like something unseen was already in motion. That's how powerful suggestion can be. Once you are taught that a symbol is dangerous, your mind fills in the rest. And here's the deeper truth I had to learn. The symbol itself is not the source of fear. The meaning you attach to it is. Because when meaning is unstable, your emotions become unstable. One dream might feel like a warning. Another might feel like something mysterious or powerful. But either way, you are not at peace. You are constantly interpreting. And constant interpretation keeps your mind active even when it should be resting. That's what I didn't understand back then. I thought I was becoming more spiritually aware. But in reality, I was becoming mentally overwhelmed. Because instead of letting my mind rest, I was turning every dream into a problem that needed to be solved. And the more I tried to solve it, the more real it felt. But feeling real does not mean something is true. That realization was the beginning of my freedom. What I didn't understand at the time is something very simple, but very powerful. Your mind speaks in symbols, especially when you're asleep. When you dream, your brain is not using logic the same way it does when you're awake. It's processing emotions, memories, stress, and unresolved thoughts. And instead of using clear language, it uses images, strong images, and snakes are one of the strongest. Even outside of any spiritual teaching, snakes naturally trigger alertness in the human brain. They represent caution, uncertainty, something unfamiliar, or something you need to pay attention to. It's a built-in response. So when your mind is trying to process something intense, stress, fear, pressure, confusion, it often chooses symbols that carry emotional weight. That's why snakes appear. Not because something external is sending you a message, but because something internal is being processed. I started noticing this pattern after I stepped away from occult thinking. The days I felt overwhelmed or mentally heavy, my dreams became more vivid. The nights after I overthought something or felt tension, the symbols in my dreams became stronger. It wasn't spiritual activity, it was mental activity. A snake in a dream can represent many internal states. It could reflect fear you haven't addressed. It could represent pressure you're feeling. It could even be something you're avoiding or not fully understanding yet. But the key is this: it reflects you, not something happening outside of you. That realization was uncomfortable at first because it meant I had to stop looking outward for answers and start paying attention to what was happening inside my own mind. Instead of asking, "Who is against me?" I started asking, "What am I feeling?" And that question changed everything. Because once I understood that the dream was coming from my own thoughts, it stopped feeling like a threat. You don't need protection from your own mind. You need awareness of it. And awareness removes the fear that comes from misunderstanding what you're experiencing. One of the biggest mistakes I made for years was this. I trusted the feeling more than the truth. Because when you wake up from a dream like that, it doesn't feel small. It doesn't feel random. It feels intense. Your heart is racing. Your body is alert. Your mind is already trying to understand what just happened. And in that moment, it's very easy to believe that the dream was important, that it meant something serious, that it was a warning. I remember waking up after a dream where a snake was close to me, not attacking, just present. But the feeling it created stayed with me for hours. So now we come to the most important question. What does it actually mean when you see snakes in your dreams? Here is the truth that changed everything for me. It means your mind is processing something. That's it. Not an attack, not hidden enemies, not something being sent against you. Just your mind doing what it naturally does, organizing thoughts, emotions, and experiences through symbols. And once you understand that, your response begins to change. Because the problem was never the dream, it was how I reacted to it. For years, I gave those dreams power. I would wake up and immediately start analyzing. I would replay every detail. I would try to connect it to people, situations, or imagined threats. Without realizing it, I was feeding the experience. I was giving it attention. I was giving it meaning. I was giving it importance. And whatever you give importance to grows. But everything shifted the moment I changed my response. The next time I had a dream like that, I woke up and I didn't rush to interpret it. I didn't panic. I didn't assume something external was happening. Instead, I paused and I asked a different question. What was I feeling yesterday? Not what the dream meant, not who it involved, just my internal state. And most of the time, the answer was simple. I had been stressed. I had been overthinking something. I had been mentally tired. The dream was not a message. It was a reflection. So instead of reacting with fear, I responded with awareness. I got up, let my mind settle, and continued my day without attaching any dramatic meaning to what I had seen. And something surprising happened. The dreams lost their power. Not because they never came back, but because I stopped feeding them emotionally. That's the key. Dreams become overwhelming when you treat them like warnings that must be decoded. But when you understand them as natural mental processes, they lose their intensity. They pass, just like any other thought. So here's what you should do the next time it happens. Wake up calmly. Don't rush to interpret. Don't attach fear to the image. Give your mind space. Let the feeling settle without building a story around it. Because the moment you stop trying to figure everything out, your mind begins to relax again. And when your mind is relaxed, your dreams lose their grip on you. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to decode them. You just need to understand them. Because once you do, something shifts inside you. The same dream that once created fear becomes just another passing image. No control, no hidden meaning, no power over you. And that is where real freedom begins.